might fall in. So I actually wrote this shortly after the last major election because you know you say more, right? But I trust the process to a degree. You know, I come back to that. You know, I'm frustrated, I'm this, I'm that, and I think, oh, well, okay, what am I supposed to know? What do I need to know? And then sometimes there's even gifts. So I'll sing a line and then you can, it's always, I'm making lemonade or make some lemonade. So it's always lemonade, okay? Got it? When life gives you lemons, you know what to do. Make some lemonade. Beautiful. When life seems to get the best of you, make some lemonade. Life is an interpretation, could bring about transformation. As creator and creation, I'm making lemonade. Try that one. I'm making lemonade. As I focus on my gratitude, I'm making lemonade. This love to change my point of view, I'm making lemonade. It's the sacred law of attraction, putting my prayers into action. This brings me satisfaction. I'm making lemonade. I'm going to spell it like this. Lemonade. 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 I'm making lemonade. Let's try that part again. Lemonade. I'm making lemonade. Beautiful. When I smile from within, it shines right out. Even if it begins with a pout. This is how I co-create. I'm making lemonade. Life gives you lemons, you know what to do. Make some lemonade. I seem to get the best of you. Make some lemonade. Life is an interpretation. It brings about transformation. As creator and creation, I'm making lemonade.
Elaine Silver grew up in northern New Jersey, Morris County to be precise, and comes from a very musical family. In the late 1970s, she decided to follow her dream of becoming a full-time musician. This led to many recording projects, thousands of touring miles, and concerts, including performances with Arlo Guthrie, Pete Seeger, and Tom Chapin. She was the recipient of the Garden State Music Award for Outstanding Folk Performance. Elaine's musical career has evolved into a metaphysical musical ministry, teaching about spiritual concepts through her music. She's worked with Deepak Chopra. Did I say that? Chopra. Wayne Dyer and Marianne Williamson. She presents her music at venues across Northern America and Europe. We are pleased to welcome back to UUOCC Reverend Faerie Elaine Silver.
All right. And I know there's no curfew today, so that's why it was really fun to listen to everybody. Fun and sad, a little sad. So I thought I would just sing you the song. It's what I understand. And it goes full circle and finds itself back at the beginning. When I understand, I stand under. When I stand under, I support. When I support, I lift up. When I lift up, I raise. And when I raise, I praise. And when I praise, I encourage. When I encourage, I strengthen. And when I strengthen, I empower. And when I empower, I release. And when I release, I let go. When I let go, I let God. And when I let God, I understand. Yes, I understand. That's Jay Woods. He's a part Okay, zip eliminates. We're going to move into a little bit of a musical meditation. It's called the Universal Voice. I put my cowboy boots on for you.
Thank you.
There you go.
They're not comfortable. Oh. But you know, I like to look good and feel good. If I have to choose one, it's feel good, but you know, I'll socks. It's not bad without socks. All right. This is the idea that there's a universal voice. That the word universe could be thought of as one voice. Unity, voice, one voice, universe. And I want to remind everybody and teach everybody that we are actually spiritual beings having a physical or a human experience. How many people have heard that? Good. Sometimes I like to think of us as human spirits. We have a body. The spirit doesn't have a physical body. So because we are here for spirit, spirit gets to think and see and feel and touch and taste through our senses. It's really nice. It's a nice thing to think about. God gets to be human through us by means of us. And there's one other thing that we have as physical beings, human spirits. Have you ever heard the expression free will? Free will. Which means we're always at choice. We might not know we're always at choice. You know, sometimes we get reactive. We're always at choice. Universal voice. Or you can close your eyes if you like, or lower your gaze and just watch me. We are always at choice when we tune into the universal voice. But it takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. Now, it doesn't take discipline for some people. It just works with the song. Behave or act a certain way and we continue to do it, it becomes habitual. There's a universal choice. It's the love in the universal voice. But it takes discipline to listen to the universal voice. The universal voice is still and small. The universal voice answers every call. This comes from within, below and above. as the sacred sounds of love. The universal voice brings us knowing. The universal voice keeps us growing. The universal voice sets us free to run to the universal sound of home. You know that home is the universal sound of creation. Let's try 3 ohms together like this. Home, we are always at choice when we tune into the universal voice. But it takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. It takes discipline to listen into the universal voice. It takes discipline to listen to the universal voice. Come back to the room. Welcome back. Okay. Yeah, when we do something over and over, whether we want to do it or not, that becomes a habit. So, you know, that idea of the discipline is to just do our best to remain conscious of how we're behaving, acting, thinking. Thinking becomes things. Even a thought is a thing, but thoughts become physical. And that's law of attraction, universal law of attraction, says what we focus on gets bigger, whether we like it or not. And so it might be a good idea to, I mean, I know for myself, I had to stop watching the news so much because I was getting inundated with it. And I think I was telling Ivy, I started to watch Sitting with Dogs with Rocky Kanaka. And it just made me happy. And I wasn't a dog person before. Now I love every dog. And then it raises my vibration. And then I found Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer. Awesome. He's my guru. My guru. So I'm grateful to him. So I'm going to move on to the program, which is called Spiritual Economics through Song. I'm also going to be doing some poetry for you, some haiku poetry. And so last year, about close to a year and a half ago now, I took this course, Spiritual Economics, at the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast in Sarasota, which is my center. I was a founding member, and I was their first prayer practitioner. I got a license to pray. I know how to do it. It's true. I got to keep it up. I have to do CEUs and CLUs. So this is the book. And I had taken this course about close to between 20 and 25 years ago at also the same kind of center that was near Clearwater. And I loved the book then, but not like I loved it this time. And this is actually the copy. This was on my shelf for 20-something years. And then I took the course again, and you know, I had a few things underlined. Now I have there's yellow here because I just loved it so much. And it was written by Eric Butterworth. Has anybody here ever heard of Eric Butterworth? Some of you have. He was a very, very well-known minister of the Unity of New York City Center that used to meet at Lincoln Center every Sunday morning. And so what I wanted to say about this book is, even though it's the same book, there's different stuff in it. You know, it's like when the student is ready to teach, or the teachings appear, and I just inhaled the book. I loved it. However, as I mentioned about poetry, about 4 years ago, I discovered that I have a knack for writing haiku poetry. And so it took me so long to get through my homework every week because I'd stop and write a haiku poem. And so I wrote about 400 haiku poems from this book. And so there's different ideas that I decided. There's many ideas in the book. Some of them are principles, spiritual principles. Some of them are just thoughts, and I call them ideas. So I wanted to tell you how I found Eric Butterworth. I took the S training in 1976. How many people can remember that? Now it's called Landmark Education. I was 21 years old. It was about the best thing I have ever done, especially at that age, to understand and get that we create our own reality. We create our own. Now I say we attract it by how we're vibrating. That's the law of vibration and the law of attraction. So it's good to think about, well, how do I feel? Okay, let's have a better feeling thought. Maybe I'll attract better feeling things and experiences. And so I met a woman named Rebecca at that training in 1976. And she told me about Eric Butterworth. And that was in March. We graduated, I think, the first weekend in April. We were the March D seminar, which meant there were 4 that month. People were just taking this over and over. But now it's sort of become within the fabric of our society. There's all kinds of transformational this, and we didn't have that language in before. And I think a lot of it has to do with the word in our heart has trained. So Rebecca invited me to come to Lincoln Center for Easter in 1976, and I went there. I went to New York, and she was all dressed up with her Easter bonnet. I was sitting there, and I'm witnessing hundreds, maybe thousands of people coming in and leaving Lincoln Center to hear Eric Butterworth. And I ended up going to see him many times over the years. And so what I want to do, I'm going to share some of these haiku. I have, I'm going to use 5 ideas. I call them ideas. And the idea number 1, remember this because I'm going to ask you. God is everywhere present. Can you say that?
God is everywhere present.
That's a major principle in New Thought philosophy, which I'm a practitioner in that. And I consider myself a New Thought minister, but it's my real credential is that I have a license in practitionership. And all the ministers are practitioners. I don't want to go to minister. I don't want to learn how to run a church. I just want to go be a minister. That's why with an act like mine, I got to keep moving. Okay, God is everywhere present. And not only is God, or whatever you want to call that power, that energy, infinite wisdom, source, creation, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. It's this energy that is not just in everything, it is everything. So when we say God is all there is, that's what we say in Science of Mind. God is all there is. Yeah, because it makes us every cell, atom, neutron, proton, all that stuff is made of the same substance, essence, presence. It's that presence. And where I talked earlier about how the Spirit gets to use us to have a physical experience. That's what that's about. It's everywhere. And so here's the first haiku poem that I wanted to share. Now, does everybody know what a haiku poem is? Everybody? Well, just in case. It's from Japan. It's 3 lines. The first line is 5 syllables. The second line is 7 syllables, and the third line is 5 syllables. So I call it the 5-7-5. One life coursing through a divine appointment in human consciousness. And so that. More. The good I'm seeking is my God. God is my life, health, strength, and support. And so I want to read you a little bit from page 36. It talks about your personal welfare begins with your consciousness. See, this is where the choice comes from. Your consciousness. It has its inception in the state of your mind. You can be prosperous when business is poor, and you can experience financial difficulties even when business is booming. He says, you are always on the side of the problem or you are on the side of the solution. While you're thinking, you are either adding to your good or you are taking away from it. The law is inexorable. We are continuously minusing ourselves or plusing ourselves. Your negative thoughts of fear and worry are depleting your good faster than inflation erodes the value of the dollar. And your positive, optimistic thoughts add to your good more dramatically than compound interest increases your savings. So do you remember the song that was written by Billie Holiday, God Bless the Child? I used to sing it. I had no idea what it meant. I'll just sing a little bit of it. Sing along if you want. Them that's God shall get, them that's not shall lose. So the Bible says, and it still is new. Mama may have, Papa may have, God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. So what that means, I mean, if she's saying, oh, the Bible says this, I'm not a big Bible person. But I will read you the quotation and I'll explain it to you. Quote, for unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance, but from him that hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. It's a matter of your state of consciousness. So, if you have an abundant attitude, and pay attention to the laws, and you're not just taking, but you're using the law of circulation, giving and receiving and sharing, then you've increased your good. You've increased your energy. But if you're always just take, and you're not generous, that's what he means. He said there's certain people that they just can't get ahead because of their consciousness, and it also could be their unconsciousness. Did you ever hear that people say, a feeling just came over me? I'm going to talk about this later. Feelings don't just come over us, because feelings are caused by thoughts, either conscious or unconscious. And so that's when these feelings come. Think about it. When did this happen before? When did I feel like this? What do I need to know? And I just maybe ask the universe, what do I need to know? And so, my friend Rebecca that I talked about, one time, here I am, 21 years old, I'm beginning to be a musician, a professional musician, and I'm kind of complaining about how poor I am. Oh, I'm so poor. She goes, never say you're poor. Now, you could be broke. That's different, because the poor part, and she learned this from Eric Butterworth, the poor part is our conscious awareness. And I never forgot that. And this is a direct quotation from Eric. It's a sin to be poor. Now, the idea of sin really, it's not you're going to be, you're going to go to hell. It's not that at all. It means missing the mark. So when we say we're poor, when we think we're poor, we're missing the mark of our true inheritance. And there's one more haiku for now. I may have been broke, but I have never been poor. Conscious awareness. Well, I have the song for that. It's called In the Universal Realm. Now we had the universal voice, now we have the universal realm. The universe is big for me. It's infinite. And it's also a little bit of a kirtan. Do you know what a kirtan is? Some people say, okay, kirtan. Kirtans. It's a Sanskrit word that means to come together to sing. And a traditional kirtan is when there's a group and a leader, and there's a call and response. So I'll be the leader, and you all can be the leader. You can hand them out, yeah, because I have a few song sheets, and I'd like them back. And while he's handing them out, I'll just tell you the first line is, in the universal realm, where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. Why don't you just give them to people and let them pass them?
All right.
How much time do you have? You should just pass them out. You can share too. Anyway, it goes like this. And that's why sometimes song sheets aren't the best, because then you're like, try to listen too. Are we ready? Everybody look up here. You're ready. Okay. In the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. In the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. We're gonna hum like this. Oh, oh, again. Oh, oh. I may have been broke, but I've never been poor. I rely on spirit, it's my energy. I may have been broke, but I've never been poor. I rely on spirit, it's my energy. Oh, 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 and this is this thing. True prosperity for you and me. When we open up the sea, and we are free. Our works through eternity, not doing for me, but as we live. I'm made up of spirit too. Oh, everything's 100% made of it. Now, I'm not all spirit. Spirit's all of me. Oh, 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 oh. In the universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. The whole of spirit is present. We're going to try it again. The universal realm where we live and have our being, the whole of spirit is present everywhere. May have been broke, but I've never been poor. I rely on spirit, is my energy. I've been broke, but I've never been poor. I rely on spirit, is my energy. Oh, true prosperity for you and me. When we open up the sea, that we are free. God within is always there. Look inside and know it's right here. Always. Good job. You can give yourselves a hand. Now we're going to move on to idea number 2. First, so the idea is the principle of abundance. Can you see that?
The principle of abundance.
We live in an abundant world. And it's called the law of life nature. It just keeps giving and giving. Where do those flowers come from? I mean, it just keeps giving to us. And my favorite, Yeah.
They come from rock.
From Robin, but where does Robin get it?
She has an abundance in my backyard.
That's right. She has an abundant. She has an abundant backyard. I'm sure she has more than that in her life, but yes. So my favorite example of this abundant, constantly giving universe is the idea of an oak tree. I have an oak tree that probably goes from here to there. That's how big the trunk is. And it's laurel, so it's only about 80 years old. And it's actually, I had to trim it back. It was a little traumatic. But every year, that oak tree gives off hundreds or maybe thousands of acorns. And it came from an acorn that big. How did something that big get to be that big, or that small, get to be that big, and continue to produce and produce and produce? How does that happen? That is the law of giving. And I like that idea because it kind of gives me an experience of like eternity or infinity, where it just keeps. And each one of those acorns could make its own gigantic tree that does that same thing. It's vast. And I can't say it's endless because it is in the physical, but it feels endless. It's just continue, more. Nature always wants to give. And let's see, prosperity is a way of thinking and being. It's not something we get. And the word affluence literally means an abundant flow. Like fluid, and affluent. Flow. So here's another haiku. The economy is just a barometer of our consciousness. And so, remember when I talked about the feeling just came over me, and it could also be what's called race consciousness, and it means the human race. We're born into it. And for some people, it's like, well, my mother had this disease, so that means I have it. And that could be considered nonsense, because every moment is a new beginning. One of the spiritual principle, which means life or God, is not bound by precedent. So just because it always happened before doesn't mean it can be different. You can create a different change. So this is directly from Eric. The kingdom that is within you, which is your very own inlet, may become an outlet to all there is in God. And the word God function, just think of, spirit, source, energy. It's an outlet to all there is in that energy that makes it earth. Claim your inheritance of abundance. You are entitled to the support of God. Substance in everything to which you give your mind or hand. This is my favorite. Let go of the belief in the grace of poverty and the subconscious sense of guilt in having things, along with the feelings of unworthiness. These attitudes have such a detrimental influence upon human consciousness. And a lot of that is race consciousness. Oh, I'm unworthy. Just by the fact that you're born, you are a worthy deserver. You are an expression of source energy, made 100% of it. Claim your inheritance, by Eric Butterworth. And then I said, I'm rich in spirit by reason of spiritual inheritance. Yes. So then, I continue. I have two more before I do this. The wheel of fortune is the ever-present God. It's an inside job. My mother used to say that to us, because I liked it. That was a long time. And the last one, until I did. Living a charmed life, knowing I deserve it all, spirit then responds. And you can affirm for yourself, I am a worthy deserver. How does that feel? Let's just say that one. I am a worthy deserver. All right, idea number 3. Your fortune begins with you. Let's say my fortune begins with me.
My fortune begins with me.
Our point of power is always where? Where is? Present moment and when?
Now.
This is where we are free to make good choices. There's that choice again, that support or deny our desires. Conscious awareness is key. This is being conscious of what we are thinking and feeling. Thoughts, here's the thoughts create the feelings. You know, feeling didn't just come over us from nothing. It had its source in conscious or unconscious thoughts or raised consciousness. And I love Abraham Hicks when they say, does everybody know it's a group of non-physical entities that come to this woman as for Hicks. And they call themselves Abraham. When I first heard about it, I was like, but I don't care where the information comes from. If it resonates and rings true. And I studied the Abraham material for years and years. Now, Abraham says, and I love this one, a belief is just a thought we keep thinking, or a lie we keep hearing, or a truth we keep hearing. It's over and over and over, and it becomes part of our belief system. So it really is an empowering thing to know this and to examine what somebody keeps saying over and over, and we know it, yes. And so find better feeling thoughts. Find better feeling thoughts. They can become manifestations. One of my better feeling thoughts is, we are getting through this. We are getting through this. So I have a song called Thoughts Become Things. And I wrote this a number of years ago during fall equinox. And it goes like this. Summer into fall, winter into spring. Listen to the call, the thoughts become things. Thoughts become things, I let my riches ring. I'm awakening, the pendulum swings. The thoughts becoming things, the blessings they can bring. Aware that I'm aware, my thinking is a prayer. My thinking is a prayer, my thinking is a prayer. Thoughts become things. My wishes sing. I'm affirming now, God's declaring how. Each and every hour I tap into the power of universal law. It brings a state of awe. The magic of the mind is out of space and time, out of space and time, out of space and time. I'm opening. I'm awakening. Thoughts become things, the pleasures they can bring, the treasures of the King. I am one with everything. 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 Summer into fall, winter into spring. Listen to the call, the thoughts become things. 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 Choose good ones.
Amen.
All right, give yourselves a hand. All right, so now we have idea number 4. In the flow of God, the giving spirit. Quote, the goal should not be to make money or acquire things, but to achieve the consciousness through which the substance flows forth when and as you need it. Now, it's okay to have things and have goals and get that, but that doesn't define who we are. Just because you have this, that, and the other thing, keeping up with the Joneses, it's a matter of how are we being conscious about it, unconscious or conscious about it. You know, are we recycling and things like that? Are we acting in a way that resonates with our true nature, which is a gentle footprint? So, there's the idea of electricity. You know, can anybody see electricity? We can't see it, but we see the effects of it. So that's part of it, you know, to use that power, that electricity, to empower our thoughts. So electricity is an invisible current. It's a force of nature. Here's how I put it. Electric current is invisible to us. We can't deny it. Money or affluence doesn't have to be in form. Doesn't have to be, okay, this cost me whatever, this cost, just being a way of being. It's also an invisible force. And that's why money is called currency. Just like electricity, currency. So it is, it's a flow. It's a movement. And that's why we have the law of circulation, giving and receiving. And if you just take, you're going to stop the flow. Or you can't really give unless you can receive, really, truly. You can't really receive unless you can give. More hyphen. Handle currency with a joyous attitude to get in the flow. I trust the allness of the infinite supply. Spirit is my source. Here in a nutshell, giving way to divine flow is in consciousness. It's not what we are giving to, it's what we are truly giving from. And this giving that Eric Butterworth writes about is about us giving from our divine essence. And we can't outgive God. We cannot. For money is God in action. It's also made 100% of that source energy. But sometimes that flow is blocked, right? Have you ever had an experience like that? Maybe stuff is starting to cost a lot of money, and then we're like, oh, we get scared, we have fear, and then everything may stop. When that happens, when that flow is blocked, Eric Butterworth says, something's got to give. He says, just start giving, just to give. It doesn't have to be money. It could just be a smile. Good morning, oh, you look gorgeous today. Oh, I love your dress. Anything like that. It just helps to raise that vibration so that we can begin to allow more things that match that vibration to come into our being. And so I have a song called Something's Gotta Give. And this was so fun. This was part of my enjoying the book, Spiritual Economics, so much because I really dove into my own creativity with poetry and the music, and then putting it together and seeing what songs I already have. So this is a short song. I think you have it. You have at least the chorus, I believe. And it's kind of like a Buddy Holly song. Someone's gotta give until we wanna live in the world where we all grow. Someone's gotta give until we wanna live in a state where abundance. Let's try that again. Someone's gotta give until we wanna live in a world where we all flow. Someone's gotta give until we wanna live in a state where abundance flows. Giving of itself is the universe's start, creating the perfect set. What I gotta give comes straight from my heart, it is love and light and blessing. Let's do that chorus again. Someone's gotta give if you still wanna live in a world where we all grow. Someone's gotta give if you still wanna live in a state where abundance flows. I release what no longer serves, creating a space of growth. Open to grace gives me what I deserve from a place deep within my knowing. Alright, one more time. Someone's gotta give if you really wanna live in a world where we all grow. Someone's gotta give if you really wanna live in a state where abundance flows. In a state where abundance flows. Yeah, abundance flows. So it is. I don't know. I'm not taking any chance. You put him outside? Yeah, there's a couple of
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to touch it. See, that's
I
nature.
normally would, but that one.
Nature's giving. It's saying, be careful.
No, no,
There we go. One piece of paper.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So now, here's idea number 5. Distinctions in the tithing practice. How many people here tithe? You know, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to tithe when it's coming from that place of giving and not feeling like you have to do it. So according to Butterworth, there are distinctions around the concept of tithing. When I found this out, it made it so much easier for me. I just had been thinking about upping my monthly gift to my center, and I hadn't done it yet. When I found this out, I just, okay, here's 50% more. I you know, that just says it. I don't. I might up it again. I'll see. So here, if we give to get, it's not really giving. So a lot of people, you know, say, oh, well, yeah, I have to tithe because then I'll get it. You know, and it's not real giving if that's your MO. 2, the history of the tithe, which translates to the word 10, is a giving of 10% of income, crops, or whatever is earned or accumulated in that time period or whatever. And it was a requirement. It first began as a requirement. So really it was a tax. And some people guilty of not giving the full share were put to death. Right? So,
Serious.
it's really is serious. You know, you better tithe. Do it with a smile. So I just want to read a little bit from the book about that. Actually, it's not really mentioned in the Bible very much. And he said, oh, here it is. Jesus, the guy, is never quoted in support of tithing. Isn't that interesting? He also says, it's important to note that Jesus was very specific in his teaching of the law of giving. Note that we are drawing a definite distinction between the practice of tithing and the spontaneous process of giving. It's fine, you do both. You know, and even if it's not money. You know, I've noticed I'm a little more generous with tips and smiles. You know, smile. Some elderly lady, Indian lady, was in the pool yesterday, and she was just in the one little section, and she was and she, you know, she just looked like, she could be scary. And she went, and she turned beautiful. Yeah, so he says, give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet withal, it shall be measured to you again. That's from the Bible. I'm not a big Bible person. But I like that distinction because it really freed me to just give more. And I just want to tell this one little story. It happened in, I think, 1998. I was in California. I was at a Science of Mind retreat that they have every year. Sometimes they do it now. But go out of Silver. And I'm driving down, I believe it was Route 9, going south on Route 9, going to Carmel. And there was a lot of traffic going south, coming north. I'm going south. There was a street to my right with a stop sign. And then when I got close to that street, there was a little break in the traffic. So I just told the woman to go ahead. And as she turned the corner, and I could see her, she goes, you know what? I'm still feeling that. It's like a ripple effect. And I blow kisses a lot. They let me. And so that was when when I read this part, that's when I upped my monthly gift. And let's see, it felt good because I had considered doing this, I wanted to come from a place of giving, a giving attitude. and have been consciously more generous with things like tipping and sharing and telling people that they're this and wonderful. I love to do that. And again, don't stop tithing, but just see the reason behind it. You know, if you're just doing it again, a lot of New Thought people, I think, have that idea. No, it's just give because you have a giving way of being. And so I'm going to move on to the fifth song. Now, I know there's a lottery in New Jersey. Does anybody here buy lottery tickets? How come? It's just throwing money away, right? You're just throwing away. Well, I used to buy lottery tickets when I lived in New Jersey, and I buy lottery tickets in Florida. I spend $6 a week. I buy a double ticket for the Wednesday night. It's the lotto. That's what I did here. I just do the lotto. I know how to do it. Don't get complicated. And I buy a double ticket. $3 for Wednesday, $3 for Saturday. And I always know if I won because I can look it up on my phone. And so here's what happens to me. Oh, I think it's like up to 18 million right now. And maybe I would get half. You know, my husband and I. What would we do with $9 million? No, we would pay this off, we would help the center, we would do this, it would just be, and it makes me feel really good to think about what I would do. And it opens possibility, because I'm putting myself in that higher vibratory place. Yeah. I often win a free ticket. I win $5, 20, and whenever I win, and because when you put the ticket in, see if it won, the machine goes, if it's a winner, it goes, dun, da, da, da. And I'm like, dun, da, da, and people think I'm crazy, but please think of me as none of my business. And I'm like, dun, da, da. I won, and I just, make a big deal out of it just for fun. I won the lotto. And if I don't win, I get to contribute about $300 a year to education in Florida. And I think that that's a very worthy cause. And I get to have fun around it. I get to have a lot of fun with it. So, yeah. So that's the distinction in that for the lottery ticket. So, I have a song. Let me see. It's a quickie one. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, I am a winner, I am a winner. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, my heart's a glimmer, my heart's a glimmer. You can try that with me. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, I am a winner, I am a winner. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, my heart's a glimmer, my heart's a glimmer. My vibration's risen and it's given me such a feeling, a realization, transformation's healing. Oh yes, it's healing. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, I am a winner, I am a winner. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, my heart's a glimmer, my heart's a glimmer. All right, give yourselves a hand. You did great with that. All right, and this is the last idea that I'm going to talk about. And this, I had so much fun with this because Eric Butterworth talks about, when you give money to somebody, here's the head side, right? And that's kind of dark. But then the other side is the green side. And he said, when you give money, when you hand money to somebody, you give it to them green side up because all the money, paper money, and not even on the coins too, I checked after I wrote the song, they all say, in God we trust, or in source, in that higher energy, we trust. So that when you hand somebody money and you have the green side up, it will remind us to bless the money and bless the person you're giving it to. And when I first found this out, I went in, we have Circle K in Florida, it's like 7-Eleven. I went in there to get a cup of coffee. And when I said to the cashier, I said, I just learned this thing, and here, this is fun. And I blessed the money and I blessed the person I'm giving it to. And she goes, oh, I needed to hear that today. So that's another being generous. You know, and I don't care if people are hungry. And I did the same thing at the delicatessen in Randolph, New Jersey. I love that story. So I wrote the song. I'm not sure if you have probably have one.
So green sign up.
Yeah, green sign up. So I'll teach you the first part and the second. So the first part was, all the paper money in America has a message for each one of us. All the paper money in America has a message in God we trust. Try it. All the paper money in America has a message for each one of us. All the paper money in America has a message in God we trust. Okay, that's the first part. Now the second part. Now you're going to really get that I was raised in a nursery school. We had a big farmhouse, and my mom had silver lamps full of downstairs. So, you know, a lot of my songs are kind of nursery schools. All right. So it goes like this, and we have hand motions. Green side up, come on, green side up, come on everybody. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says in God we trust. Let's try that a little faster. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says in God we trust. From the top. All the paper money in America has a message for each one of us. All the paper money in America has a message in God we trust. Green side up when you put your money down. Green side up when you pass it around. Green side up when you're paying for your stuff. Green side up, it says in God we trust. Green side up, it says in God we trust. Green side up, it says in God we trust. Good job, give yourself a hand. Okay, and now I think it's that time in the program